Where are we? It hasn't got a name. It's a new system. I wanted us all to discover it. No one's ever been down here before.
Fucking kidding me.
Oh, God.
Now, how the hell are we supposed to get out?
There may not be a way out.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And this week, we continue with the theme of Chelsea Duff's birthday. In a Chelsea's 2 weeks, Chelsea's Palooza. Is that what we called it?
Chelsea 2 weeks.
Whatever
Chelsea
you want,
Palooza.
as long as you make sure the spotlight is on me.
It is. It's about Chelsea. I just want that to be clear right from the get-go.
Yeah.
But we're doing the most upsetting girl boss movie of the century. 2005's The Descent. And I'll just read the IMDb logline right away. This is what it's about. A caving expedition goes horribly wrong as the explorers become trapped and ultimately pursued by a strange breed of predators. It's good. And this movie also is very good. And this movie is also probably the scariest movie we've done on the pod this year. I don't know. I felt very upset, but positive upset.
I watched this in college and I remember this movie freaking me out. And honestly, it had so many layers of different things that were scary, it kept just it was scary this part. And then, it was scary for a different reason. And then, oh no, it was scary for another reason.
It really is. It's defies genre. It's you think this is going to be like a creature feature? Well, it's also a psychological horror and an emotional terror. There's a lot going on.
It's about confined spaces. It's
Mhm.
about car crashes. It's about jump scares. It's about being trapped, all kinds of stuff.
It was really giving Final Destination at the beginning.
It was giving Final Destination. Oh, man.
Have y'all gotten the videos on TikTok where people are throwing spears into strangers' cars?
I saw one and I saw that people mentioned in the comments that there had been another one.
I saw 2 separate videos.
What?
Yes.
Isn't that terrifying?
What's wrong with people? Society is breaking down. These are the end
They
times.
said they were driving down a random access road or something like that.
And somebody threw this giant, it looked like a homemade spear.
Did they die? Did
No.
someone die?
No,
Was
no,
anyone
it hit their
speared?
steering wheel.
But it broke through the car
Dude.
glass. I don't know if it's real or not, but I saw another follow-up video of the cops checking it out.
Seemed real.
This is some fucking Hills Have Eyes shit. This is truly you drove past ancient beings or something. That's actually relevant to this film in maybe more ways than one. Not just the impaling in the beginning, but the ancient hunter-gatherers later on in the movie. Oh my God. Yeah, the beginning of this movie just starts off with a fucking bang. It's guess what? Things are crazy. They're whitewater rafting. They're adventure girls. Guess what? There's weird vibes between one of the girls and the husband of another one of the girls.
Oh yeah.
Immediate.
Honestly, yeah, with the whitewater rafting, it looked like they were going over 1,000 rocks. And whitewater rafting can be very dangerous. And I tragically, unfortunately, know people who died whitewater rafting. And I really thought that this was going to be the kind of movie that starts out with the tragedy right fucking away. And I was really anxious and scared. And then I was just a few minutes early.
And then
No, you were right.
This
It was
is
a fake
different
out.
tragedy.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it is what I thought. I'm just here a little early.
It's a smart fake out though, because they're like, you think, oh
You
fuck,
thought the
maybe
danger passed.
it's the beginning of the movie. That could definitely be exactly that, a tragic start, and 1 year later something's happening. But yeah, it's like just the most mundane thing ever, and it's a great reminder. Distracted driving kills,
So
as
true.
they say on
Don't
as
have an
they say on the
affair and then
billboards.
don't die. Okay.
You
That
ever have
also.
Go
an
to
affair
Instant
so
Karma.
awkward that you crash your car and get impaled by many poles?
I have so many questions about the affair. Where does everybody live, for one? Because it seems like they all live in different fucking countries. So, like, how long have they just been in love forever?
Well, I don't know, because I got a weird vibe, because it seems like they're old friends, right? The girlies are old friends. And so definitely Juno, the adulteress in question, was like in town to hang out and do this like water rafting trip. Like they're
Yeah,
staying in
Sarah
a
was like, she
hotel.
came
They're
to
on a
Galway.
vacation. Yeah, exactly. So, but also the vibes, like when you know that there's something going on, like Juno gets pushed into the water by one of her girlies once they're done being in peril. And what's the husband's name? He's so
Paul.
meaningless to me. Yeah. Paul helps Juno out of the water, and then like they are
He
very
unbuckles
close.
her helmet.
Yeah, but then he like stalks away and he's like, let's leave right away. So do you think that like they had a thing and then it like
I think it was because Beth looked
fizzled?
over and gave him
Yeah.
a suspicious look.
Okay,
and he was like, we gotta go right now.
We gotta leave.
I couldn't tell if it was that or just that like they still had a vibe and they used to fuck, but maybe they weren't currently fucking. But it's like,
I think it's
they probably
definitely
are still fucking.
possible. I think it's definitely possible that they used to fuck. Beth blew up their spot at some point, but there's still like lingering tension between them. So when
Yes.
Beth looked at him, there was an implied, you get away from her because I told you 4 years ago that if you and Juno ever fucked again, I'd go straight to Sarah or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of room there for extrapolation.
With Beth. Sorry, I misheard you. Yeah, I could totally see that too. Ugh, I love Beth so much. I just want
It was very hard to keep track of everybody's names. I will say that. And like all the different girlies
I know
later
Beth's
on.
name because I loved her so much. I was like,
Well,
Beth is that bitch.
You have the three main girlies, right? Which are Beth, Juno, and Sarah.
Yeah.
And Sarah's the one who had the husband and
Whole
child
family
who
dies.
died.
Yeah.
And then Juno is the one who was fucking Sarah's husband.
The
and
mistress.
Beth was the one who was like, I know what's going on here.
Beth is the one
I'm
with
clocking you.
Yeah.
with the eyebrows that look microbladed, but they're not because it was before that. Well, I don't know. Maybe they did microblading in
Whoa.
2005. And
You could
also
get them tattooed regular tattoo style.
possible. But she's also like the ultimate homie, which I'll get into more.
Yeah.
But she's the best. I love her so much.
And then you had your second group of three, which was Sam, Rebecca, and then Juno's little like protege, Holly.
Known lesbian Holly. There's lesbian Holly.
What
and
did she call herself? A sport fucker?
Adrenaline fucker?
She said sport something.
I have no idea. I don't remember.
I didn't file it away in my brain, I guess. But I think it was sport fucker.
Well, another thing to note is that Becca and Sam are sisters, which I forgot about from the beginning of the movie. And then that made all the sad parts more sad. And I didn't get that at the time. I only retroactively found out. So I'm mad at myself for not paying attention. But one interesting thing about Juno is her name. It's actually like referential to Greek mythology. She's named after Jupiter's wife, who's a wrathful and conniving goddess from Greek and Roman mythology.
Does that feel right for her?
Yeah.
I guess.
For
We'll
Juno?
discuss.
Yeah. I think, she's got something wrong with her, in my opinion. But we'll get there later. There's also like this whole thing with like the story of like Orpheus. This is like kind of like a reversal of that, where like Orpheus is trying to like lead his dead wife out of Tartarus. So like that's when his wife died, and he's in. He tries to bring her out, but then he looks back too early, and then she dies, and it's terrible. So it's like the opposite of that, and like Juno's bringing them down into hell, and blah blah blah. I don't know. I thought that was very interesting, and I love Greek mythology. So, and I hate Juno. Those are my things that about me.
Juno is a complicated character.
I kind of liked her by the end, to be honest. I had complicated feelings in general, for sure, about characters in this film and their various friendships and alliances, etc. I for sure was being a hater about her early on. For sure early on. But then when she went full badass, I was like, actually, maybe now I like her.
She is badass, but she's clinical also. There's something wrong.
I mean, yeah.
There's something wrong.
It's like she's such a badass. Like she'll pickaxe everything. She's like, "Fuck it, I got you. I'm gonna be the only one that goes back for the wounded." But then, as soon as like slightly uncomfortable for her, she's like, "Nope, I'm out. Goodbye, JK. Like I don't want to face this."
There's like an emotional stunted thing going on with Juno. Like she's like, I don't care who I hurt. I'm just gonna. She can't face anything she's ever done wrong. And so that's clear by the beginning of the movie. She's having an affair with Paul, and then he dies, and she fucking evacs when Sarah needs her most. So she can't face that. She can't face what she's done. Obviously, she's hurting too, but like she is not going to be there for her friend who just lost everything. And then later on in the movie, she fucks up huge again, and she can't own up to that or try to fix that either, and evacs and runs away as well. So I don't want to say that one quite yet.
Yeah, the second one, we'll discuss it later. It seemed so like an active trauma response to me that I hesitate to be like, that's a personality reveal. Do you know what I mean? Like it seemed so like she was in shock.
I just
yeah, you're like fuck her, and I think that's fine.
I just don't agree, but I see what you're saying. But yeah, I think that like the thing about this movie is that I was expecting it to be just like a nasty like fucking gore fest, and it is, but it also has such cool like interesting cinematography things going on and like emotional depth to it. Like you first start to really see that in the hospital scene, right after Sarah wakes up and no one's around. She like rips all of the monitors off of her body. I hate it when they do that in movies. It makes me sick to my stomach because I hate needles and IVs. Ugh. And she just like is running down that hall, and like it kind of starts with the claustrophobia there as the like lights and the like start tunneling in around her. Like all the lights in the hospital corridor start turning off one after another. It kind of gives that claustrophobia feeling that you're gonna have later on in the movie with the tiny little fucking tunnels. Oh my god.
It also gives the movie that we're doing next. But I won't say.
Yes. Okay. I forgot what we're doing next. So but yeah, and that just that emotional moment when like Beth has to be the one to tell her that like Jessie, her daughter, is gone. Like, oh. I really wasn't thinking that would happen, but she was sitting right behind her dad, and those poles were very long. Why do they have all those poles on their car in the first place?
We'll never know.
They are plumbers, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Just some nice plumbers. It's not their fault. Paul's the one who was completely
He swerved into their lane. Yeah.
Yep. They're just living their life with their poles, you know. Actually it was a stripper pole delivery service, and then we want them to get those poles
doing a service.
Yeah. So it's not their fault. It's Paul's fault.
It's not their fault. They were doing good for the world, and Paul should have had his eyes on the road and his dick in his pants. And if he had never strayed from his marriage, none of this would have happened.
The real culprit is infidelity.
I think Paul's up in the running for a dumb bitch award. Just saying.
He's up for a nomination for sure.
He's up for a nom for sure.
Any man who cheats on their wife is up for a nomination for dumb bitch. I'm so sorry. It's just the way that it is.
No, it's written. It's written in the book of law. So
Okay,
it's
but
just
also
true.
I'm gonna throw Juno out for this one very reason. These clearly like European women come to America to go spelunking, but not only do they come to America, they go to Appalachia.
Well, that's
Bro.
where the best spelunking is, queen.
But here's the thing.
Shit
Like-
goes down in Appalachia. There's cryptids
down in
up the
Appalachia.
waz. There are cryptids up the wazoo in
Like-
Appalachia.
Here's the thing. You never go outside after dark. You never go into the woods after dark.
sure.
You just
I've
don't go
seen
into the
those
woods in
TikToks.
Appalachia.
I've seen the Appalachia Wood TikToks. I haven't seen the Spearman or whatever the fuck, but I have seen the Appalachia Woods ones. And they're like, this is all the people who go missing. And these are the things we put outside the house to keep the bad, evil demons away.
Well, so
No.
they literally talk about all of the cave systems under the mountains in Appalachia, and they're like, people live in those caves and they eat other people and they come out. And I'm like, yep, fully
And
believe
they
it.
look like bats and they're blind and they're weirdly oozy. Yeah.
They
I
look
heard
like
about
Nosferatu.
that. Nosferatu. They really do.
IMDb
Yeah,
trivia said that was on purpose. That was one of the one trivia things that I read before we started recording. And now I'm kind of skipping in the background just in case there's anything good in here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like they did a lot of work on the creature design, and one of the things that they originally had, Paul Hyatt is the person who did the makeup effects for this movie, and what's the name of the director? Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall had an idea for what he wanted the crawlers to look like. People are referring to them as the crawlers, but they are also referring them as Troglophana. Do you see that? Troglophana.
No.
No,
I
they
like-
are crawlers because they move on all fours.
I like the word Troglophana though, because what the fuck? Okay, cool, fine.
It
But
sounds very cryptid-y.
It does. It does. But originally what Neil Marshall had drawn was like creature with these like huge bug-like eyes, so maybe they could see in the dark, but they're like, that looks too goofy. That looks too like the new Beanie Babies, you know, where they made their eyes fucking huge. It'd probably be a little too cute to have them have the big eyes. But yeah, they did a really good job on that. They wanted them to look like bats, so yeah, like Nosferatu with the big ears and all of that. And they kind of set that up earlier in the movie when there's that big explosion of bats that fly through the cavern, which was awesome, but is terrifying because you can get rabies so fast from a bat. So sad.
Yeah, the
They're
second the bats
so
came out, I
cute.
was like, they actually need to leave right now because if bats go anywhere near your head, you're supposed to go straight to the hospital.
I know, and they were like all over her fucking head. They're like
They were
smashed her in the
CGI. It was
fucking face.
fine.
I know
I'm willing
that.
to believe that none of the bats touched her head, but they wouldn't know that for sure. And that is just further evidence that they are not responsible explorers because rabies develops super fast. And by the time you're noticing literally any symptoms, it's really too late to do anything for you. So
We used to get bats in our house all the time. I remember like multiple houses because they would like get in through the chimney and stuff. And I remember I was alone. I had taken fun things, extracurricular things.
Activities.
I wonder
And-
what that could mean.
And I was like
I don't
with
get it.
like my cats and my dog. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh my God, there's a bat. And I was like, we hid in
Dangerous.
the bathroom because the
Yeah.
cats were trying to eat the bat. And I was like, I can't have all of you get rabies. And then
Not
it finally
today.
flew out. Finally flew out.
Not-
Yeah,
Not
there's that
today.
one video online of the like Irish family who has the bat fly into their kitchen or whatever. And Devin, who was on our Troll 2 episode, I remember one time a bat like landed on her mom's head or something, so her mom had to go get rabies shots.
Oh,
Or
those
it just
hurt.
like
What if they just
flew
touch
at-
you?
yeah. Yeah,
because
they
I
can't
want
risk
to
it.
hold
They
one
can't
in
risk
my
it.
hands so desperately. Everybody got extra mad at bats because they may or may not allegedly have been a part of the creation of COVID-19.
I love bats.
Allegedly, but I got more into bats after finding that out because I was like, bats are getting a bad rap, and I just would watch
Somebody
videos
needs
of
to
bats
defend the bats.
eating little cantaloupe. They're just eating little food, and I follow like 4 bat rescue video places on the many social medias.
It's freaking
Mm.
bats. I love
But you
Halloween
Halloween.
bats.
You'll die. Ugh. Anyway, it's fine. But we skip past the cabin scene like 1 year later after Sarah loses her entire family, which I really liked that scene because I think it did a really good job of like introducing all the characters in like a very succinct way. Like I was reading a lot of these articles that were like they don't waste any time in this movie. Like
Mhm.
there's not doing like unnecessary exposition like, "Hello, I'm Becca and I go to college," or something like that. Like they just like it's all seamless within the like short conversations and you learn so much so quickly. And I think they did a really really good job with that, but I also just loved the vibe of how people treat someone that they know is grieving. I think they fucking nailed
Mm.
it in this cuz like I've been in that position before. People like are
Same.
like weird fucking aliens to you.
They don't know how. A lot of people like don't know how to be around people who are sad.
Yes.
They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to treat you. And like TBH, you just treat them like a normal person. And if they're
Yeah,
sad, you make space for them. Like you don't
exactly.
need to tiptoe around them. Just
Exactly. And you don't need to tiptoe around the topic either, you know what I mean? Like break the fucking tension and then we can move on, you know? And I think that some of them do a good job, some of them don't. Like I think it's um Becca, no, not Becca. Sam.
Oh, Sam.
Sam is like, you know, that I thought was funny too, like her just being like, let me release my guilt really quickly that I didn't
Yeah.
come and hang out with you, but I wrote you a
A
letter. But at
letter.
least she wrote the letter, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that, like saying something is something good. And I also think it's bizarre that no one briefed Holly on anything. I mean, maybe
right.
we let Holly know that this is like a my friend lost her whole family. We're trying to get her back
This
to
is to cheer
herself
her up.
party. Like that's like what this is for.
Yeah. The dynamics are so weird with Holly though, because she came in with Juno, who, probably has been in a full ass spiral for the past year because
Yes.
she's grieving her boyfriend, but she can't tell anybody about it.
Yes.
So she's just behaving in absolutely unhinged ways, probably, and is just like
Mhm.
fully attaching herself to Holly and is like, let's go do crazy shit. And then she's like, Holly,
Yeah.
come do this other crazy shit because I maybe need a buddy, or I need someone to talk to who's not going to make me talk about all this other stuff I'm trying to avoid talking about. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
for sure, Juno's vibes were whack.
So whack. And I just think also it's really interesting showing like the dichotomy of 2 different ways that people deal with extreme grief. Jesus
Grease.
fuck. Grief.
Extreme
Listen,
grease. You
here's the
get
thing.
your
They
Dawn
deal
dish
with the
soap.
extreme
Grease and grief, both incredibly hard to remove. Just saying.
It's so true. Wow.
Wow.
And
Oh
that's
my
on God.
Period.
Period. That was great. But like Juno's gone like full like adrenaline junkie. She already was, but like more extreme, you know. She's like people do that all the time to like feel alive after losing someone. And then Sarah it seems has been like cry in bed all the time. This is my first time leaving the house. That's a vibe that I'm getting based on like Beth and her conversation in the car driving over and all of that. And they're both valid ways to grieve, but it's just, I don't know. I think they do a good job with all these little subtleties. Like nothing is too over explained, but like if you're paying attention, you're picking up a lot in this first opening scene.
I really liked watching the dynamics between the women also as they were like first meeting each other for some of them. I'll talk about it more in the How Could It Be Gayer segment. But for sure, Holly and Sam had interesting vibes. Holly and Juno had interesting vibes. I was paying attention. I was looking around.
Oh yeah, I mean it is a movie with
It was impossible to
all-woman
miss.
cast.
And then they had that weird moment also, though, where they were talking about boyfriends and stuff, and people were like, Holly, are you dating anyone? And she's like, no, not right now, but one day I'm going to have lots of babies. And then everyone was like, oh, ooh.
They're overcompensating, Holly.
And also, like, don't mention babies in front of Sarah.
Yeah, that was bad. Also, there's another thing. There's some comment someone makes later on, and she was like, Holly was like, if my boyfriend did that, I'd be grossed out. And it seemed like fake.
It's okay. Here's what it seemed to me. Jumping ahead a little, sorry, but it seemed to me, not if my boyfriend did that, but it seemed like dump your boyfriend, queen.
Right.
Dump your ugly ass boyfriend, queen.
Dump him.
He doesn't sound worthy of you, queen. Dump your boyfriend.
Yep. I like that. She's coming at it from all angles.
She was like, how do I get this girl to have a little side romance with me? Well, if she has a boyfriend, that's not going to work out. That boyfriend sounds terrible. That boyfriend sounds bad. You should probably dump him.
You should probably dump him, yeah. There's something about,
have you thought about dumping him?
Rancid vibes from the thought of your boyfriend.
What if you dumped him mentally right now and you were single for this trip? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that one scene was jam fucking packed, but it just gets so bad like so quickly. I do like the concept of descending into a cave, but only by the rope part. I thought that part looked really cool. I just think that no one should go in a little tunnel, where you gotta go on your tummy and you don't know where you're going, because I watched a TikTok several years ago now about a man who went in the wrong tunnel and he got stuck and he died of directional asphyxiation, and it was so sad.
Is that the Putty Caves?
Get out. It might have been, yeah. And
There's
that
lots of that kind of
happens
stuff
all the time. There's just so many things that could go wrong. I love extreme sports. I have many friends that do them, but that just and now I know that there's cave dwelling, flesh eating humanoids down there too. Jeez, it was bad enough already with the bats.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is a really rough part of it. Again, I'm not a caver. I'm not really a climber at all either. I have climbed actual rocks outside, like with the harness and everything, because I took an adventure sports exploratory in like 7th grade. So I have climbed.
I'm a part of a climbing gym, in case anyone
Look
wants
at
to
her.
know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I don't know. I mean, again, this is skipping ahead a little, but the part where they're like climbing across and they have to put the things up they have to fucking free climb it and put the things up in there as like the safety measures. Somebody just has to do it first, which is crazy to me. I felt like there was so much of this movie regarding like that and like sliming through the little tunnel, where I just felt like I don't know enough about these hobbies to really appreciate what I'm watching, but I can't imagine just being like, oh, this tiny little hole, this is for sure the way into the next cavern. Let's definitely go through here. No questions asked. Just start wiggling through. Like, I mean, it's just like you said, I've read too many things about people who were scuba diving in caves or spelunking or whatever. It's so easy to get stuck, find yourself in a tunnel that narrows too small for you to continue through, especially if it's the kind of thing where you have to take your pack off also to do it. Like, these women had no questions whatsoever about this. It's a totally new cave to them. They thought it was like an easy, boring one. I get it. They're just like, oh, well, this must be it. And if it's the easy, boring cave, then everybody must do this and have no questions. But like, ladies, let's pay attention to our surroundings, please.
No, don't blame them. Fucking blame Juno. No.
If you were experienced and you took me there and you said crawl through here, I would say no, I'm not doing that.
Well, they're all experienced. They've all done it before, except maybe Sarah hasn't done it before. They're all super adept this entire time. They don't bat an eye. That's one thing that I really appreciated about this movie and what makes it a feminist movie. Like it passes the Bechdel test, duh. But 2, like you don't see a man after the first 10 minutes. There's no man again. Well, except for the crawlers.
And
there's
they're
no
bad guys,
traditional man. And they're not all men. The crawlers, there's a lady crawler. Apparently there's a baby crawler. I don't remember seeing that, but anyway, that's not my point. But they're all like so like strong physically, mentally too. Like shit goes wrong and they start to like get a little panicked, but they like pull their shit together. Like these are like experienced adventurer women, and it's so refreshing to see like just like a different style of this type of movie where like there's no one coming in to rescue them. Like they have to save themselves and they fucking know what they're doing. Like it reminds me a lot of 47 Meters Down Uncaged.
This is exactly like 47 Meters Down.
It is exactly, but it's like they actually like really know what the fuck that they're doing. Not that like not all of them knew in 47 Meter Down Uncaged, only that one girl.
That was one of the things that I was avoiding saying earlier, though, is the creators of all films in the 47 Meters Down franchise, including Fall, 47 Meters Down, 2,000 Feet Up, or whatever we're calling it. They clearly watched The Descent and then took notes and then sprinkled little elements throughout all of the various films.
They copied it in so many different ways, which will bring that back when we get to the very end of the movie. But yeah, I thought that it was like really awesome that they like so clearly knew exactly what they were doing, and they would have been fine if they had a trustworthy leader, but they don't have a trustworthy leader. I just can't imagine putting people in such a dangerous situation, no matter what. It's going to be dangerous no matter what. But then you don't tell anyone that you're in a cave that like has never been explored before, and you leave. I mean, obviously the book doesn't matter if it's a cave that never been explored before, but like when she left the book, I was like, this bitch thinks she's like hot shit. And I can't wait for her to die because she's going to get all these people killed. And I didn't even know what was going to happen. But I was just like, this is so bad. It's just you have to trust each other in a situation like that. And from moment one, the trust was completely violated. So, like, where do you go from there?
Praying for your downfall, queen.
Yeah.
Fuck, you know.
Really rough. Again, there's very little you could do to get me to crawl through a tunnel like that. Maybe if I knew for sure what was on the other side. But I also, again, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I know what kind of movie I'm watching. I know the genre. So like I can say like, hey, remember when they had to crawl over bones and that tiny little tunnel in As Above, So Below? Like, of course a cave-in is fucking inevitable. But
yeah,
they, you know, I guess they've crawled through tunnels a zillion times, maybe.
It's so
and it's always been fine. I don't fucking know. You could not convince me. There's literally no way.
Nothing. No. Like, here's the thing. I say this.
I wouldn't do this.
I am not outdoorsy, right? I am outsidesy. Like, I love being outside. I love being outside. I want to sit on my nice swing on my front porch and like watch my neighbors. I want to go on a walk on a well-paved path that I can like walk my dog on or like rollerblade. I love going on a boat. I won't go too far out on the ocean. I don't want to get in the water and I don't want to get too far out. What if it crashes, you know? But like, I like to like swim in the water right by my house. I love a pool. I love a river. I will kayak if it is like a gentle river with no rapids.
No whitewater rafting.
No. So like this.
It's unrelatable to you in many ways.
This movie is so scary to me because like this is my absolute hell.
They're in the woods, in a cave in the woods.
Cave.
And I came with creatures in the woods.
And you got to go under the water in the cave in the middle of the woods. It's like that. There's a bog and there's a log in a bog in a hole in the bottom of the sea. It's like all of your terrors.
And it's just like, I fully understand why this movie like stressed me the fuck out then and still now.
So the other thing that's really interesting about this movie is because there's like a dual meaning to the name. The descent, they're descending into the earth in these caves, blah 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 blah. But it's also about like Sarah's character's descent into madness. And you could also say like it's grief and madness because like she does start to lose touch with reality a little bit, what like the deeper she gets down in there, which like I would too, baby. But one of the like first inklings that you get of that, besides the nightmare she has where the pole goes through her head when she's still in the cabin, that shit was fucking terrifying too. Great jump scare.
That was one of the moments that really made me jump.
Yeah, that was a great one. But I had to rewind because I wasn't doing my full paying attention at first. And I'm so glad I rewinded because I would have totally missed this first introduction of the crawlers. I read an article that said that you don't see them until 53 minutes in. And I'm like, I think you skipped the part when you see them before that. Because there's a point when Juno comes up to Sarah and does what we talked about earlier, what Sam did. Said like, oh, I'm sorry that I didn't stay longer when your whole family fucking died. And Sarah, like, you can tell there's like become a huge rift in her relationship with Juno. You haven't been able to tell that so acutely before because they haven't really been alone together.
In a one-on-one. Yeah.
Exactly. This is the first moment and Juno's apologizing and you can tell that Sarah is like, fuck you, I don't accept your apology. But like not in an aggressive way. It's just in a like very uncomfortable way. So she's immediately like, I need to go off on my own. And I don't know if this comes across if you don't have subtitles on, but I know that I think at least Sydney is a subtitles girly. I don't know if you always have them on.
Yeah.
But throughout the film, you hear Sarah, like when you're in Sarah's perspective, you hear this giggling. And it's like right before like there's an inkling of a crawler coming by or something like that. And it just sounds like this weird noise, but like if you have subtitles on, it says that it's Jessica's laugh. So her dead daughter's laugh.
Like Jessica giggling.
Yeah. So I don't if you don't have subtitles on, maybe that's not apparent. I don't know. But it did sound like a baby, but it could have been a baby crawler. So Sarah like hears that sound, she's like exploring around, and then there's this fucking awesome shot. One of the best parts about this movie is that everything is like red or green because they have either like, I don't know what the infrared light. Yeah, the flare or the infrared light, I think is the green
the
light.
night vision.
Yeah. Or the night vision or something like
that.
Or
they have that glow stick.
Yeah, it's the glow stick. So they're either looking through the infrared camera, that's also green, or there's the glow stick, that's green, and then the flares make it red. So there's like a flare up.
There's like one yellow flare for some reason.
Yes.
I don't know why.
There's a color story happening. But yeah, there's this, like, she hears this giggle. It's her daughter's giggle. She follows it. She's looking around. And then in the background, in place where Sarah can't see, you see the crawler for the first time, like, do some weird, like, fucking, that type of breakdancing where you move your arms all around in an unnatural way. It looked like he was doing that. Terrifying. Really good. Ominous, like, introduction to the fact that there's something down there. It's so good. Oh, man. I also would never go in a tunnel and then like go in underwater in the tunnel. Like you're in a little tunnel and then part of it you have to go underwater. That's like the very first one that they do. They like go in this little tunnel. Holly's leading them and there's a part where they go under in the water. And so now they're soaking wet and they're in a tunnel and they're going. That sounds so uncomfortable. Think of the chafing. I don't get it.
It's wet. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I just like I appreciate that they are more adventurous than I am and that they have more experience with such adventures than I do. But I'm mad that they continued on from that point forward. I can't relate. I can't. I can't get behind it. I know.
Though.
I
It was
know,
the
but they
first
didn't
fucking
even look
tunnel.
around. They didn't look around to see if there was anything else. It was like Sarah got mad because Juno tried to apologize and get like she tried to unburden herself, and so Sarah said fuck you, and then she found one little hole and went, this must be it, and then they all went, let's climb through it
I know.
immediately.
Let's not trust Sarah, the one who's obviously the novice here. Like,
Or not
on
even like,
this.
why are we assuming that tiny little maybe it was so obvious that there was literally nothing else. Maybe they had looked around before they took their little break, but she
Yeah.
finds it in 2 seconds flat and goes, this is obviously it, and then they all go, yay, and they dive headfirst through it.
It's wild. It's wild.
No.
And then like they're just like immediately fucked because Sarah, like, oh my god, the like panic attack that she has once she gets stuck was so like well done. And I just want to say that I fucking love Beth. I love her so much. She is such a fucking homie in that moment, like making like these jokes, trying to calm her down. Like she like handles that so well, and she's such a good friend. I love her.
And she does that whole like, the worst thing that's ever gonna happen to you has already happened to you, so like don't sweat it, girl. It can't be worse than that, and you survived that, right?
JK.
Oh,
I mean,
real.
woof.
Wolf, big wolf. This is a big wolf of a movie. Oh man. But I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but I was really blown away by like just like the pure strength when Sam has to get them across that cavern. Just like and I loved
Yeah.
how they drew out that scene too, where like you really are seeing her go through all emotions, not like a montage or whatever. You're feeling like every ounce of that tension and like
And her
pure fucking
fingers
abject strength.
as she has
Oh
to like
my
shift from one
God.
hand to another because one hand's getting tired.
Yeah, seriously. Like I do climbing and I'm not good at it, let's be clear. But like I was watching that part and I was like, I need to show this to more of my climbing folks and see how we are nothing compared to Sam from The Descent.
Be like, hey guys, I think we should work on our upper body strength.
Yeah. I was like, that was part of the one where I was like, I feel like I don't have enough knowledge to appreciate what's going on here, because she said she needed 3 of those things that you wedge in the rocks where you can carabiner your rope to it as a safety hook. And then she didn't use the third one. She used that pre-existing 100-year-old hook, and I was like, why would she possibly ever trust that if she has an extra and didn't put that one there herself?
I think maybe she was like about to lose her strength and that one was there, and so she had
And
to
she was
take
like,
it
let me
as-
just fucking
and yeah, it was like that or fall down. That's the vibe
Okay.
that I got, where she was
Okay.
like at the end of her energy there, because I thought that was stupid too. I was like, this is the last one, but it must have been like the only thing she could do, because why would she risk it? With ancient iron.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole scene was so fucking scary. It was reminding me of the part in the newest Scream where they're going on the ladder
Oh, the
between
ladder
the
across.
buildings. And of course it's fucking Juno that falls. And the hand, like the rope burn thing was so fucking
Ow.
it like went all the way through. Like that was a
Yeah.
deep wound. And it was just so crazy too, because like that was Sam, right? And she had just done that amazing thing. And we're like, well, she can't do that for you guys again. If that happens again, you're fucked, because she can't do that again. So hopefully somebody else can. So it's
I
just
mean,
like
it
their
seems like-
options are limiting and limiting.
Yeah, it seems like Juno has the skills if she's the one like bringing them down afterwards, but everybody only has so much energy and strength, and
Yeah.
they're already exerting themselves a lot, and certainly didn't seem like they brought that many snackies with them.
No.
Slash, all their snackies have now been submerged in cave water. Didn't seem like they were
Blech.
using good dry bags.
They probably have them in plastic.
They probably were
bags,
using
but,
good try
you know,
baggies or something.
Yeah.
They were like, let's
But-
not waste time on that. This movie's already an hour and 40 minutes long, and we've got to show some creepy crawlies later.
Yeah, seriously, I haven't even
And
gotten to
boy,
the creepy crawlies that.
when they get to the creepy crawlies, did I almost pee myself.
That reveal was so fucking good. Oh, it was so good because they realized that like humans have been down there, right? They already saw that ancient hold in the ceiling or whatever. They also find cave drawings too, which was cool. But I also thought it was like such a stretch. Love Beth again. She's the best. But she's like, see, this thing is one entrance and this one is another entrance. I'm like, how do you have like a PhD in like deciphering ancient cave drawings? That could just be a rock. I don't know what to tell you, but they're looking for something to bolster their spirits wherever they could, and I can't knock them for that.
Uh so the director didn't let the actors see the crawlers beforehand, and so when like the first time they saw them was this scene, and the actors literally ran off set.
They're so scary.
Yeah.
They do be nasty. They look like they're squishy, like in a bad way.
They
Not
do
in a
look
nice
like
way.
they look slimy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Very, very gross. The infrared camera, man, just reveal when he's like right behind whoever that was. So good.
I will
Scared
say there
the
was like
Jesus out of me.
there was one really good scare moment with the crawlers that got me, and I was also like, I don't know, I wasn't buying it, probably because at first I was like, are we supposed to assume that these were the climbers who got lost in here? Why would they have evolved this quickly? And then on IMDb trivia it was like, these people evolved over thousands of years living down below in the caves, and I was like, okay, so it's a different thing. But I
Yeah.
just like wasn't buying in yet. And then when one of them chomped one of the girls, it was very silly to me, and I laughed, and then they weren't really scary after that point, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I figured once they saw the whole like bone pile and everything, and then later on there's a bunch of human skulls down there. So I was like, those guys never came out again. I don't think they evolved. I just think they died down there. Just like all these girlies are going to do.
Yeah.
Also, shouts out to Holly's compound fracture and that part where they put her bone back in.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was gnarly.
That was
gnarly. But also, again, it made me so mad. I know, Monica, you were saying they're like so competent, and that was something that you really appreciated. And I think a lot of their behavior can probably be explained by just giving into panic. But there were so many moments where I was like, are you dumb? Like, why are you rushing? Why are you running? You don't know this cave system. You know, already there was like that surprise big drop earlier when you guys had to use your carabiners, and you're just running and assuming that's, I don't know. I got frustrated with them. And I think that is a hard line to walk of like, we want them to be competent, but we want them to be affected by the nature of this film and what's happening around them. But we don't want to suggest that they don't know what they're doing. How do we walk this line? It's hard to do.
And also, Holly's the youngest of all of them, and she's the most gung ho. And they like kind of set her up as being like too
the foolhardy, reckless one.
Yeah, like extra reckless. So I felt like that made sense with her characterization. Everyone else was like, slow the fuck down, and she was just like, I'm like I can get out of here. I'm going straight towards that light that wasn't real, you know.
She's like, I love adrenaline, but I don't really want to risk death. The second it seemed like risking death might actually last more than 5 moments down here, I am sprinting for what I think is an exit.
Which, like, yeah.
I get it.
I would do a fast walk, perhaps, but I would be trying to be very aware of my surroundings. Except I say that, and I'm not trapped in a cave system. So, again, you never really know how you would behave 2 miles underground.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, for that actual like scare, it was so funny. They had to make like a bunch of full body casts and like extra arms and legs and stuff for the girlies throughout, like in the makeup department, because so many people get their shit wrecked. But for Holly's fall, they made a silicone leg with bone fragments that could be inserted into the open wound, and then they pumped blood like through the fake leg. Oh, it was just so visceral, and there was a lot. Like they do that thing where everything takes so long. So you have to sit in the uncomfortableness of it. Like it's not like immediately they get her leg back in. They're working on it for like 30 seconds. And you're like, make it end, make it stop. Or you close your eyes like I did. And it
I
was
did clock. Juno called her Holly baby in that scene though, and I was like, okay, finally.
There's a lot of baby.
Did. But here's
There's a lot
Yeah,
of baby
but one
coming
of them
from
was like
Becca.
the sister calling her sister baby, and so I was like, okay, so that one is not sexy.
Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing. If we ever were trapped in a cave being surrounded by cannibalistic humanoids, I would 100% expect y'all to call me baby to calm me down.
I call you baby.
course.
Yeah.
I call you
Like,
baby all the
I would
time.
be like, if you didn't, I'm in the middle of crisis and be like, why are you using my government name?
Yeah.
Call me baby. It's the only way. Actually, if you call me baby, the blood stops flowing out of my stump leg quite so quickly.
So
So
fast.
If you
Healing
expect me to
properties.
be anything other than fucking baby
Be?
right now, I am
You're
gonna
dead fucking
combust.
wrong.
Yeah.
when you call me baby, it cauterizes the wound, actually. So
When my leg broke, I immediately reverted back to baby, and if you don't acknowledge that, we're gonna have a problem.
yeah. For
I
the
need you
rest
to hold
of the
space for me to be baby.
I need you to hold space for me. For the rest of the movie, I honestly can't tell you what order anything happens in because it's just chaos and everyone is being eaten. But
Yes.
it's so
Yeah.
scary. It's just like they're getting eaten now. They're getting eaten now. Juno gets separated and finds arrows to get out? Question mark.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Something on IMDb trivia said that the crawlers were filmed in like a different style. I can't find it. They were filmed at 18 frames per second with a 45-degree shutter to give them a quote staccato movement. I don't really know what that means necessarily, but what I
like
could
makes
see,
them look unhuman, you know,
Sure.
like movement
Yeah.
that doesn't happen.
staccato
It doesn't
movement, I
flow.
understand. 18 frames per second with a 45-degree shutter. I don't have the technical knowledge to really appreciate that, but it was I'm sure it did good work or whatever. There were so many cuts from different things and so many different like camera techniques being used. So it was so impossible to follow what was happening. They were cutting
was
to a new angle every half a second.
And it's so dark.
It's so dark. I would
It's
really
so
fucking
dark.
love to see this movie in theaters again. Like, I hope that one of the indie LA theaters puts it out because I bet that it's just like it's like a nonstop horror show for like the last like there's like a 30-minute period where it's just like you're fucked, everyone's fucked, you're getting chomped, it's crazy, everyone's legs are coming off, like it's horrible. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't tune back in until the Juno Beth shit started happening.
You just let it play at you.
I was like,
It
No
does get
thoughts.
like really, in a period there where they're just like running around in the caves.
Mayhem.
But one of the things that I do remember was the two girls like laying there, and one of the
The
crawlers
sisters.
are crawling, and then her fucking watch beeps.
Oh, they set that up well earlier in the movie too.
They did
That
that,
was
in
the
47 Meters Down
boyfriend part.
Uncaged.
Yes,
That was
With the oxygen tank beeping.
mm-hmm. They're copying the original, The Descent.
Yeah, I mean, that was another complaint I had maybe, was that the whole they're blind and they use echolocation to see things. Maybe I don't really know how echolocation works. And so maybe they don't also have like normal hearing as well anymore. But it felt very like, okay, if they're blind and they've learned to compensate using their other senses, they can't smell that someone is nearby. They can't
I agree.
hear someone
Yeah.
breathing nearby. Like it felt very limited, the use of the evolutionary adaptations that they gave to the crawlers.
No, it
That
doesn't.
I thought
they can
was
just
a
feel
bit
the
of-
vibes.
They couldn't
They
feel the
can,
vibes. That's what
though.
I'm saying.
couldn't
They should
feel
have
the
been able to
vibe.
feel the vibes. They should have been able to.
No, I agree with you. I thought that was a plot hole too. And like maybe they like Neil can explain it to me, and he has a reason. And he's like, because it's a dank cave, their smelling would have gone away long ago, or they would have had to smell mildew for a century and they would have gone insane. Like maybe it's some shit like that and I'd believe it, but nobody told me anything and I didn't see anything online.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like kind of a hole, but I was willing to forgive it because I was scared.
Yeah, there's like a lot going on, and so I think there's enough wiggle room for us to be like, well, just because we as the audience don't know doesn't mean there isn't an explanation for this or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. Actually, something on IMDb trivia said that there was originally going to be a scene where the women were like speculating about the evolutionary adaptations and such of the crawlers, and then
As
they
one
were
does.
like, as one must. And then they cut it because they were like, well, it doesn't necessarily add information to be like, here's what the women think is the deal, because they don't actually know. And then it kind of like lessened the tension of the moment to be like, let's stop and talk for 5 minutes. But
Mhm.
Right.
I don't know. I think it was interesting to have so many things be like assumptions that you're making and also not necessarily follow through on what you're hoping the audience assumes.
I don't know. I feel like if I was trapped in a cave, I would immediately be like, let's actually psychoanalyze these. How did they become? Like let's take a breather. Let's have a break.
First of all, I would never assume that there would be so many. That shocked me.
There
How
was
many there
so
were.
many.
So many.
They
It was
just
like a
kept
fucking
going.
hive. It was horrible. There's
They-
too many.
They be fucking down there. Like what else is there
Well,
to
they
do?
got nothing else to do but
I
fuck.
guess. Or maybe 1,000 of them went down into the caves 1,000 years ago and their numbers have really dwindled. I mean, I don't fucking know, but
Well, it was like the idea that I read online was that like originally humans were cave dwellers and these ones just never left.
left. Okay. Interesting.
Also, this is totally unrelated, but there's this one moment of the movie that totally took me out of it, and I was into it, as you could tell. I think she's using the infrared camera, and she's in that area. Maybe this is where all the human skulls are, but it's Sarah, and she's like going around,
Oh,
and
I
she
know what
like
you're gonna
goes
say.
all around with the camera, and then all of a sudden there's a panther or like a mountain lion, and he's the goofiest looking mountain lion I have ever seen in my life. It was so funny. Oh my god, it looked like bad taxidermy. Like Google bad taxidermy.
I
if
love
you
bad
are looking
taxidermy.
for a laugh. Yeah, it's Sydney and I bonded over bad
Apparently-
taxidermy quite a bit. It was
We did.
trash.
Yeah, apparently, if I'm understanding this piece of IMDb trivia correctly, it was a prop from director Neil Marshall's previous film, Dog Soldiers, which I don't know what's about.
That was
but
his
it
first film.
called-
This is only his second film ever. It was like a horror
Oh.
comedy. Dog Soldiers.
Okay. Yeah. And IMDb trivia also said like that was a movie about boys and it was all about boys, and this is a movie about girls and it's all about
girls.
But apparently there were werewolves in it, maybe, so that's a wolf head. So
It looked so stupid. It looked so
Yeah.
dumb. I like laughed out loud. But then I was right
Yeah.
back to being scared. Don't worry. Came right back into it. Got right back on the I'm horrified train. But yeah, it's just a fucking shitstorm. I don't think the monsters were totally thought out all the way. But
Sure.
it is scary when the monster's like right on top of you and you have to be like, oh, don't make a sound.
which
Don't
also
make a
happens in
sound.
47 meters down uncaged.
I know they just copied this movie, but also that's a horror trope for the century.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
But I think where this really gets interesting is where the focus goes back on the relationship between the women again. Which happens again once Holly gets got. Because she's already
I
down
didn't
for
really
the count.
understand how Holly got.
She fell and like smashed her head, I think, if I remember correctly. She had already had bad leg. And then I
Uh-huh.
think
She broke her leg, and then one of the creatures ripped her throat out.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Oh,
Sorry,
she
sorry.
was the one
Sarah
who got
bonks her
munched.
head.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Got-
I couldn't tell who it was in the moment, and then I had to like put the pieces together afterwards.
I could tell because she had
It was
those big
Holly.
ass eyes, and they were open,
Well-
staring into death or whatever.
So they use like a prop fake head of her because her head
Oh.
got ripped off, and the actress got to keep it, and she like put it in her mom's fridge one time.
Did
That was
little
a fun
props with
little
it.
trivia fact.
I really like that. Good for her.
I would
I wish
absolutely do
that-
that. I should not have a fake head of myself because I would be a menace.
You
Dude,
would be.
I
made,
JoJo. You know JoJo Sydney
Yeah, of course I know
from Kiss
JoJo.
FM. He was in like one horror movie and his head gets chopped off in it, and so he has like a fake head of his head too. And I was like, I want that, not his,
somebody-
but of myself.
I made
Somebody
a fake
murder
baby
me.
once in college, and I would plant the fake baby and fake baby limbs around places in my college apartment for my roommates to find.
Ooh, what?
They loved it. A little baby arm on the orange juice.
In high school, I had a double-ended dildo that I bought, and we would just put it in random
As
people's
one must.
mailboxes. Like that's what it was for. We
Amazing.
would just put it in mailboxes.
We
and,
love a prank.
Some old lady kept it.
She said, "Thank you. That's free."
Good. I've
Yep.
been wanting one of those.
Yep.
Good for her. I hope she explored new things.
With her roommate.
Or revisited old things that she hadn't done in so long, but now that this
So
had
true.
just fallen upon her, she was like, "It's a sign."
But back to the movie and away from
Yeah.
double-sided dildos, unfortunately.
The
This is where
Holly
shit like really gets bad because Holly like gets her throat ripped out and then
But it was
Juno
so
like
confusing.
goes fucking
Because like she shined the light in her eye and her pupil contracted, and so I was like, "So she is alive? She's not alive?"
I
oh,
think
yeah,
she
I
was
don't know.
dying like slowly. Like I think
was,
her
like,
throat got
bleeding
ripped out,
out.
but she wasn't like fully dead yet, and then she died.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did love getting to see Juno go fucking apeshit, fucking
That's
crazy.
when I was like, "Okay, girl, slay!" Like,
yeah,
And then
but
she
she
whacks Beth.
immediately ruins it. Then she immediately stabs Beth through the throat, which sucked so bad. That's just like an awful situation. But she doesn't even like try to stay with her and put her hands on her throat and be like, "I'm so
Yeah.
sorry" or anything. Beth is like, "Please don't leave me." And she
Yeah.
hears her say, "Please don't leave me." And she leaves her oldest friend. like I don't know if it's her oldest friend, but it's her
The
oldest
movie
friend.
purposes,
Okay?
it
For the
is.
purpose of what I'm saying right now, that's her oldest friend. And she just
I
stabbed her in the
know.
throat.
I know we haven't done Hereditary yet, but it gave me like that same vibe as that one moment where it's just like you can't process what just happened.
So you just
And
have
so
to walk
you're just
away.
like wandering off. Yeah. That was the vibe that I got from that scene. Not that she was like, "I can't face this," but that she was like so like out of body almost in that moment.
Like,
Totally.
what
Okay,
have
I
I
could-
done?
I could see that for sure, but it's just like it's different
It's
in
not good.
Hereditary. It's
Yeah.
not the same thing in Hereditary. I'm sorry, it's different. So this one is like she was still alive, you know?
Mhm.
So I think like she had an opportunity to like do something. She's calling out to her
something.
saying, "Please help me," and she just turns her back and runs away. And so I just don't think I don't know. I also just really think like that she maybe had like a fucking mental break before this whole event started happening. With like all the articles I'm reading are about like Sarah's descent into madness, blah blah blah. But what about Juno's descent into madness? Because was this a fucking suicide trip? Obviously, she didn't know the crawlers were gonna be there, but she set them up to fucking die. Like Becca
Yeah.
called the whatever guard of spelunking
Filed their rescue plan or whatever.
Right.
for the wrong place. So there's no because she didn't know that Juno was a psycho who's lying. And so there's no possible chance of rescue. Like she knows that she made it, so there's no possible chance of rescue. They're going into a system that no one's seen before. When they have that scene where they confront Juno, they're like why would you do this? What the fuck? And she's like, we could explore something together. Like, she seemed unhinged in that moment. I was like, are you Jacques Cousteau? Like, what's going on?
I think her thing is like, this is not an excuse for her actions. It's an explanation for her actions.
Mhm.
I think a year later, she has processed her own grief enough that she thinks she can finally hide it from Sarah so that she can now not just help Sarah through Sarah's grief, but make up for the year where Juno just fucked off and didn't talk to her at all, seemingly. And so she's like, if I take her on this adventure and we name the cave after her, that surely will be enough to outweigh the horrible guilt I feel. She's like, it has to be something so fantastic, something so big and fresh and unbelievable and exciting that it evens the scales. And anything less than that is not going to cut it, because she knows what she did was so horrendously awful. Like, not only did I fuck your husband, but now he's dead and your daughter is dead, and I haven't said a single word to you in the last year. So I have to show you how important your friendship is to me by naming a whole fucking cave after you. And she's just not thinking clearly at all. And I think that's part of why she leaves Beth too, is she's just like so single-mindedly focused on Sarah that she's like, well, Beth is dying and I didn't mean to do it, and
Gotta go save Sarah.
I gotta go find Sarah. She's gonna die no matter what I do, and I don't have time to waste.
Totally. I could see that perspective too, but I think it could be both too.
Sure.
I think she could also be like, I think it could also be like, oh, I have to do this grand thing. But she could also be like, there's no way we're ever going to feel better from this. So let's do something crazy and then go out guns blazing. Could be that thing too, reuniting her with her family. I don't know.
And
there's
also,
not
like,
tons of evidence for that, but I wouldn't write it off.
Guys, imagine if we do survive the murder cave. We're really going to be trauma bonded, and you'll have to be my friend, because who else has shared that experience?
Who else could you ever talk to about anything ever again? It has to be me, right, Sarah? Right, Sarah?
Yeah.
Ooh,
But it was
very
interesting.
insane.
So interesting to see the way that they like split off into their little groups. Like, Sarah is alone now, Juno is alone, the sisters are together, they hear Juno shouting, but they're kind of like, fuck Juno. Like,
yeah,
I mean, they're both like, we can't call out because we have to be quiet. And they're also like, well, if she's drawing the crawlers away, that's good for us. And they're also like, by the way, we are here in the first place without a rescue at all because of her. So if that's what happens to her, that's what happens to her.
Bye, bitch. Yeah. But they get eaten. Those girls get eaten.
Yeah.
Right? That's what happened.
That scene was so confusing though, too.
They get eaten so
like,
fast.
They didn't film in real caves. Obviously, that would be basically impossible to do. So they built like a zillion cave systems on a set, and also they nicknamed one of the caves, and I don't know which one it was, but there was one that was like a tight fit and was like slimy, so they called it the vagina on set. So that's fun. But they built all of these themselves, and then they had to like film them from various different angles and like redress them slightly so that it would look like they had a zillion caves instead of just 17 or whatever it was. But it was so hard to follow what was happening on screen sometimes, where they were like, they're crawling through, but now they're in a different location, but you didn't necessarily see them coming out of the tunnel. You just see now she's climbing. Oh, but somebody else is in the tunnel. And I was like, are they together? Are they not together? Okay, now I see them all in one spot. I found this movie easy to follow in the grand scheme, but really hard to follow like individual action scenes.
And I just think it's supposed to be utter fucking chaos, horror, terror.
And so dark.
So dark that it doesn't, so dark.
It's supposed to make you feel claustrophobic. It's supposed to make you feel like you're really lost. It's supposed to make you feel disoriented. And it does that.
I understand that that's frustrating for if I'm Chelsea, because you like to know exactly what's going on.
That's
I
true.
just noticed that. You do. And so yeah, but you do like there's no way to know exactly what's going on in this, and they don't even know either.
To me, just would take me out of a scene so much that I was like, I guess I'll just wait for the scene to be over to find out what happened in that scene. They'll tell me afterwards, they'll be like, Beth's dead. And I'll be like, okay, I guess Beth died.
Yeah.
Well,
she died.
That's not a real
but
example.
she didn't
because
actually die.
Her stuff was actually pretty clear what was going on with her.
We see
but-
Beth die because Sarah wonks her, which honestly, humane.
Well, wait, that's not when she dies. She has that. Sorry, that is what you were
Sarah,
saying.
that whole emotional thing when Sarah finds Beth, she's still alive somehow, resilient, a great friend, and resilient.
She's been sitting there like this the whole time.
Yeah. But yeah, and she just like doesn't say anything, just gives her the necklace or the bracelet or whatever it is.
She does say things. She says so many things.
She's like,
oh my god.
Kill me.
She
like,
says,
please
no,
don't leave
about
me
the-
here.
No, about the bracelet, Sydney, not the death part. What happens with the bracelet?
She says Juno did this on purpose. And Juno got this necklace from your husband, Paul.
Yes. Sorry, I got it confused at the later part where the necklace comes up. Then there are very few words spoken. But
she's
here,
like, Juno killed me on purpose, and Juno got this from Paul, and don't trust Juno. And
from her
again,
perspective,
it's one of those
she murdered
things,
her and left her. So fair.
Yeah.
Also, she knew that she was a cheating bitch, and she put them all in this peril situation. So yeah, they have no reason to forgive Juno for anything.
Kill that bitch.
I understand, and I get it, but it felt like I don't know why why do I always pick the worst girl in these movies? And I'm like, actually, I love her.
It's like when you defended the rapping in The Visit. I was like, this is the last thing I fucking expected from Chelsea. You being a Juno girl. She was so hot when she killed that monster.
She was hot when she
so now I
snapped
love
his
her.
neck.
Bitch. But what about all of the bad things she did?
I know.
Here's the thing.
I know.
Outweighed by her being a hot Tomb Raider, very Tomb Raider coded. Just saying, very. Tomb
Here's the
Raider
thing.
coded.
This just gives me hope that one day when I finally snap, Chelsea will still be a Sydney girl.
I'll be a Sydney apologist. But
well, I mean, Sydney, it'll be different if I knew you. You know.
Yeah,
I don't know this Juno bitch.
Here's the thing. I guess she was just like. She had enough rage at Juno for various reasons over various years that I understand being like, don't trust her and she's gonna get you killed. But it felt like you had to have known that she didn't stab you on purpose because you snuck up on her after she just killed a monster. Like, obviously she left you on purpose.
She's not thinking at that level. Think about it this way.
Like, she's dying.
This is that part in Signs where the wife is pinned in half and she's having words that she's always wanted to speak come forth from her body.
Actually, those made sense if you recall.
He
said it was random, and then we found out it wasn't random.
I know these ones make sense too. Don't trust Juno. She has been lying to you for years.
I just think it's kind of like Saw, a little bit in like, why are you gonna trust the person who it literally said out loud they're supposed to kill you? But it's also like that is your best working together is your best hope of like getting out. So do we really need to be poisoning the well of like run away from the person here who is clearly capable of killing these monsters?
That thinks that her friend killed her.
She left her to die. She did leave her to die. I don't think she killed her on purpose.
We have to move on. She obviously didn't kill her on purpose, but from Beth's perspective, as she's bleeding out of her neck, I can see how she thinks that. You know what I mean?
And I can see why she would also be like, even if I know she didn't do it on purpose, I hate that bitch. So
yeah,
fuck that bitch.
She already has enough ammo to hate her.
Just by bringing them down there, I'd be like, fuck this bitch, don't trust her.
Just with that, forget the cheating, forget anything else. Just with that, she's fucking dead to me. That's fucking
Yeah.
psychotic. That's fucking psychotic. There's
I
no
just
two ways
think
about that one.
there's a
no
big difference
two ways.
between she's gonna get you killed and she's going to actively kill you.
Both.
Both. Don't trust her.
Okay.
Don't trust
I
that
don't
I
bitch.
don't think you should trust her. You definitely shouldn't trust her.
We got to move on. We just agree to disagree.
But yeah,
I
because
mean,
it's the same thing in that one scene with Sarah and Juno when they finally talk about it, and she's like, "Where's Beth?" Because Sarah's like testing her, and like
yeah,
again, what Juno is saying is close enough to the truth. If Sarah hadn't had the run-in with Beth, that it wouldn't matter. But because Sarah did have that run-in with Beth, it so colors all of what she's saying as to like seem like an incredibly different. I mean, I guess I do appreciate that work in this film of like everyone being so human the whole time instead of like having any sort of omniscient knowledge that the audience does.
yeah.
Or like ability to step outside of the situation the way an audience member does.
I think the writing is really strong in this, and the character development is really strong. I was compelled.
The director let the women, like, he gave them a script, and there was one scene, and they literally,
it's the Sarah Beth scene at the end.
yeah, and they filmed it, and they were like, the writing is shit, and they went back and like created all new dialogue, and so I think he then kind of let him do it throughout the movie, because he was like, I am a man writing a movie about women. I don't know what they'll say, so this is kind of the gist of what we want you to say, and y'all could go from here. Smart man.
You can say it like a human woman would, instead of like what a man thinks how women talk to each other.
He was a good ally throughout this. I mean, this isn't saying like that much, but the studios were really pushing for him to have like the women get naked in the pond scene kind of thing, like a sexy lady
fuck
thing.
Off.
And he wouldn't let that happen. He's like, it's not that, like, no.
He's like, isn't it sexy enough when Juno starts snapping necks?
Yeah, that's hot enough, right?
Isn't it sexy enough when one of them, I can't remember, I think it's Sarah, is in the giant pool of blood?
Oh my god, that shit was so cool, and it was so Carrie coded. She like really had her like Carrie snapped moment after that when she was in the blood. She was like telekinesis. Here we go.
There's a couple Carrie moments in this movie, and that was the first one, and then the second one comes at the very end.
But yeah, are we at the part where Juno and Sarah have their final showdown? Yeah. I feel like I thought that it was great that like they don't need to be like, how could you, or blah 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 blah. It just shows the necklace and everybody knows,
and she knows, you can see it in her eyeballs.
And I guess it would be very easy to have Juno be like, you go, I'll hold them off. And it's like interesting that they didn't do that.
No, because it's just like,
but that's not Juno. That is not her. She was gonna.
She wouldn't do that.
She might have.
No.
At that point in the film.
Wouldn't do that. She's a coward. She's a coward. She is a coward. The thing is with Juno and with Sarah, like, you expect them to be like, I'm so sorry, but we still need to get it out of here. And Sarah's like, you're right. But like, this really shows how far they've descended. The descent into like madness. This really shows like how far gone Sarah has gotten at this point, that she's like, I'm going to fight fire with fire. I'm going to make sure you fucking die for what you did to me and what you caused with my family.
Yeah.
Because, like, she literally just fucking is like, I'm going to maim you and you're going to die down here. And I don't care if that gives me less of a shot to get out myself. Like, fuck you in the realist way. And I really didn't expect that. I did not expect it at all.
Even if it's not like I'm murdering you, it's like I now have so little regard for your safety and life that I'm going to use you to draw them away and to slow you down, because all I need to do is be faster than you.
Yep. As bait, use them as, so good. And that Oh, okay, here's the part where I get to be angry and I'm super excited about it. Because I watched this last night, watched it on Max, what's where it's
Mhm.
streaming. And I live in America. I don't know if you could tell that from my American accent. And so I experienced the American version of this fucking movie, and we all have maybe here on the podcast been our rights have been ripped away. It's just terrible that they foisted this fucking vanilla ass ending upon us when the actual ending is so fucked up. They literally like had this ending for the UK audiences because it's a UK film, and then they're like, Americans can't handle this. You okay if we cut it a little bit early? So I'll get into the
Trim it.
nuance. Yeah, trim off the part that's like the stab in the fucking spleen, like that. If that's like that fucking weird hook going into Beth's neck, they really cut us off at the ankles here. But like I still liked what I saw, but it just could have been so much more bleak. So the very end, we have Sarah. She's off on her own now. She's left Juno to fucking die, and she sees the light. She sees where she could maybe get out, and then instead she falls down a hole. That looks like a slide, and that seemed a little fun at least. But she falls down and she big bonkers her head. But she comes to, and there's a lot of hints of what is to come for the UK version, at least when you look at it from a cinematography perspective, because like she looks up, there's a literal mountain of bones
It's
and
like
like
all
this
of a sudden the
beam
light.
of light. Yeah. And that scene is gorgeous when she's climbing up this like perfect incline. And when she bursts through on the other side, very Return of the Living Dead with the hand coming
And
through
also
the grave.
Carrie.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
That's her second Carrie moment.
That is. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Great call. Damn. But yeah, then she's just absolutely feral getting out of there. I was so obsessed with how she like ran to the car and she's like driving like a goddamn fucking maniac. Like the car is like flying through the
She's like,
air.
"Woo!"
I was like, this
Apparently,
is-
the director just gave the stunt drivers like full reign to do as much damage to the car as they wanted to in that scene. He was like, just do whatever you gotta fucking do to create that emotion.
hard fucking core.
But then one of them wanted to buy the car and was like, man,
Man, it's all fucked up now. It was a cool car. She finally stops to like relax, and then a giant, another Final Destination reference. A giant. Oh, you know what it's called, Sydney? What's the name of the truck that has logs on it? You knew the name.
A Putwood truck.
A Putwood truck goes by and is very scary and loud, and it makes her barf.
It would also
Which,
make
like,
me barf.
Oh yeah, I mean, after all you've been through. And then she turns around in the car and there's spooky ghost Juno, and she's like, and then that's the end for the American version.
No, you see Sarah's eyes at the very like last second, and you see her eyes open.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
I don't know
do?
exactly where
Yep.
it cuts off, but it's just, it makes it seem that like something crazy and ambiguous happened, but that's it.
Well, it's like, did she get out of the cave? Didn't she get out of the cave? We don't know. It's up to
Yeah.
you to decide.
Yeah, so they leave it up to the audience, which, okay, cool, fine. That's a choice. In the United Kingdom, they said, fuck you. There is no hope. Everything is gone. She defo did not get out of the cave. And so she wakes up from her head trauma, still in the cave, and has fully lost it at this point. Because before her, she sees her beautiful little baby daughter with a birthday cake. And they
who
celebrate.
she's been seen popping up throughout the film in these moments.
And then they have this sweet moment, the mom covered in blood, the daughter looking pristine and perfect over the birthday cake, and then it pans out and the birthday cake is actually the torch. And then she's in this never-ending cavern, and you can hear the like little sounds of the crawlers coming
Blech.
to eat
I
that
just
bitch.
got chills from that noise that you made.
So sorry. Do apologize. And that is so much better, in my opinion. That's so much more fucked up. It's so bleak. It makes me want to die.
I
And I'm
think
mad that they
it's-
took that from us.
the director actually has like kind of an interesting take on like the various endings and interpretations of them. I do prefer the UK ending personally because it very much like seems like one of those movies where no one's gonna get out alive. There's just like no way.
Yeah.
And also, while we did get the birthday cake moment throughout the film, it felt like trauma in those other moments, which made me feel like we didn't get any of the promised hallucinations that they had told us would happen in the dark, other than it was meant to suggest maybe that you can't
Yes.
trust what you're seeing with the crawlers at first.
Yeah.
But I wanted there to be real hallucinations, etc. And so to have that at the end does kind of like cap it off nicely of like, yeah, she's in the fucking dark, she's down, she's so far below, there's like no sunlight anywhere, whatever, etc. blah blah blah.
That checks the box for the last of the weird symptoms you could have down there. So
Yeah. But director Neil Marshall, I don't know where this is from. This is just IMDb trivia. But it said he didn't have one specific ending in mind during filming. I'm reading from IMDb trivia. So he agreed to make an American version where Sarah escapes from the cave, and it was considered the quote happy ending as opposed to the unhappy ending. But he said it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where just because someone gets away, that doesn't necessarily make it a happy ending. Like to him, does she live? Yes. Does it open the door for a sequel? Sure. But it's not a happy ending. It's not like a triumphant tale of survival. It's like she's literally seeing Juno's ghost in that moment. You know, she will be haunted by this forever, by what happened to her, maybe by what she did with Juno, because you know, a reaction you have in a moment is not necessarily a choice that you would make if you were thinking things through, but you're gonna carry it with you for the rest of your life if you live. So
yeah.
Oh, this bitch's life is ruined.
it's over, bitch.
Like,
Yeah.
She's got a dead husband, a dead child. She found out her friend who abandoned her after her like family died was actually having an affair with her dead husband, and then she went spelunking
Live in
terrifying
peril.
monsters, and then she murdered her friend. This bitch's life
Yeah.
is ruined.
No,
and
so
also, like,
it's
who's
this
gonna
kind of-
believe her that there are all these creepy cave people down there?
Well, I mean, you can just say everybody fucking died in this cave that had never been discovered before. So I feel like that's pretty easy to do. But yeah, I mean, like, she wants to be with her daughter. She wants to be with her.
Yeah.
Fuck Paul.
I don't-
It's about Jesse. Fuck Paul. And so it's sort of like it's horrible, but it's sort of nice in a way that she's reunited with her in the end, even and she's absolutely full blown bonkers and gone from reality. Cause you know, reality really fucking sucks. So if you want to take a leave of absence from it, that seems like actually a very apt moment. She also has head trauma because she did big bonk on her head and
Mhm.
fell on the
Technically,
rock.
2 big bonks.
2 big bonks. She's had a lot of bonks.
But yeah,
So-
before the sequel came out, people were theorizing in general. Like I just said, I didn't mean like who would believe her. They're gonna think that she did something to her friends. I just meant like she's never gonna be able to talk about this experience with anyone who is going to like have full trust that this is
be
what
able to-
happened. Yeah,
yeah.
like people are always gonna be like, "Are you sure you went through a lot down there? Maybe you didn't really saw what you think that you did." In the same way that Juno does it to her, or whoever does it to her early on when she first sees something, and it's like, "There's a person down here," and they're like, "Why would there be a person down here?" But nobody's ever gonna believe her, even if she does survive. And then there are people who also think that they didn't exist in the first place, and those were hallucinations, and it was like Sarah's descent into madness, and that she was the one that actually was like harming all of her friends. And director Neil Marshall apparently was like, "Yeah, I think that's an interesting theory, and I'm like down with it." And
That's an interesting one too. I like
there
that.
was a shot of a crawler at one point in the hospital in the beginning that got cut. And so that was maybe going to also possibly suggest, since that's like all the way at the beginning of the film. And then he cut it, so it's not part of the like canon of the movie. But I can definitely see how that like plays into that theory, and how he's I think it's interesting that he's like, the film is so open to interpretation. You pick whichever ending you like you subscribe to whatever theory
choose
feels
your own
meaningful to you.
adventure.
Here's the film I made. It's in your hands now.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yes.
Yes, okay, this is another of my complaints, just about how you couldn't tell what was going on in some scenes. You kind of mentioned this earlier, that one of the crawlers was a child. I think that was the scene where Sarah was with somebody was with Holly. There was some scene with Sarah, maybe right before she went into the blood, where she did like kill one of the crawlers, and I think it was meant to be a child, and then she had sort of like a face off with a woman crawler, and I think it was meant to be a mother. And so like I am willing to leave space for your guys's thing about how it's meant to be disorienting. I think also sometimes the movie wasn't clearly communicating what it meant to be communicating.
Fair.
Because I think that was interesting. I think that could have been an interesting thing. It's like with Lake Placid, where it's like, that's actually the crocodile's lake, and I don't really know why you think you can go into the crocodile's house and expect to not get eaten by the crocodile. Like, you came to their cave system and they fucked you up, but that's their cave. Like, you came into it's a home invasion movie for them.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just like 47 meters down uncaged. You are
You
in
go into the
shark's
ocean, you're mad
home.
a shark is there? How dare you?
Also, they totally copied the like it was fake, the whole like the fake escape
There's
thing
literally
in
so many
47
things.
meters down. So
47
there's
meters
so
down,
many.
47 meters down, uncaged, fall. That team, 100% huge, big fucking stams of the descent.
Mhm.
100%.
And why?
And
why
when you
fucking
see
wouldn't
fall,
they be?
also, you're gonna be like, okay, well, now it's overkill.
I can't wait. But it's time for us to move into our segment. So we must ask, how could this movie be gayer? Chelsea, I know you've had thoughts.
Yeah, I thought that Juno was really into Holly and Holly wasn't into Juno in return, but Holly was really into Sam and Sam was also into Holly. And as I was going through the movie also, I thought, is it one of those things where Juno was fucking Sarah's husband because actually Juno had some feelings for Sarah that she wasn't resolving?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can't fuck Sarah, so I'm gonna fuck somebody who does
Yeah.
fuck Sarah.
I fucked Sarah's husband because I could not admit to myself that I wanted to be with Sarah. And also now Sarah's husband is dead. And so I have to do literally everything in my power possible to make Sarah like me again. Because if Sarah doesn't like me, I'm going to have to examine those feelings now also. And there's going to be so much that I'm repressing and trying to ignore.
Yeesh. There's so much to unpack. Yeah, there's definitely some queer vibes going on. I mean, you get however many women in a room. The
Statistically, yeah.
So few of them got to be gay.
And a lot of them aren't talking about men all the time. Gay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Amazing.
But yeah, I think Juno is a lesbian. She just is not confronting that about herself. So she's still out here fucking men.
The wrong men.
If she would just admit to
the wrong
herself
men.
that she is a lesbian, then none of this movie would have happened.
None.
Classic. I love her so much. I will become her trope.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay, that brings us to Matthew Lillard. Where would he fit into this film?
I guess as a fucking crawler.
He is Paul.
He is the skeleton of one of the climbers who came before.
He could have been like
they
a
just
doctor.
painted like a skeleton and they put him in the pile.
He could have been a doctor at the hospital.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. That's fair.
He's just someone walking in the background going, "Oh,
Right. And then we're like, was
dramatic woman in the hallway."
was that Maddie Lily in the back?
Was that Maddie Lily?
What's that? My God.
Somebody on IMDb trivia is like, if you look closely, you can see actor Matthew Lillard cross across the hallway in the hospital
You
scene
would
at 1
not
moment and
believe.
47 seconds in.
Very similar to his thing in Scream 3.
2 in the party scene
In the second one. Yes.
Yeah.
at the fraternity party. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just a cameo because this is about the ladies. Sorry, Matthew.
It's about the
not about you.
ladies. Mhm.
It's about the ladies today, so come on. Okay, I like that for him. Just unknown man number 5 in the hospital.
Right.
That
Unnamed
brings us
doctor.
to dumb bitch, and I feel like we're gonna fight.
No, I think it's clear.
It's Juno. I was like,
Yeah.
if you think
She is
anything
the dumb
else,
bitch.
I'm
Yeah.
so
Do
worried
I
about
love
you.
her?
She's so
Yes.
dumb.
But she took them into that cave system, and that one's on her. And nobody
so
did
big of
anything dumber
you.
than that.
It's
That's
Juno
so fucking
and then Paul.
Yeah, Paul does deserve. Don't cheat on your wife. Stop doing
Honorable
that, man.
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you have so big-hearted that you're willing to love someone who's such a fucking dumb piece of shit.
I love so
Chelsea
many
loves
dumb
them
bitches.
And their flaws.
Wow, it's really.
I just
really
have so much empathy
special.
in my heart.
So sweet.
It's
of you.
beautiful.
Just lovely. So now it's time for Knives Out of 5. So Chelsea, what do people think about this film?
This film is well liked. The numbers are good for this film for sure. On
As
IMDb,
they should.
On IMDb, this movie has 7.2 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 86% fresh from critics. Excuse me again. Sorry, I had little quiet.
Hiccup.
No, I didn't have
So
anything. I'm a
emotional.
lady. Yeah, I was
Emotional about
moved by
this
the
film.
numbers.
Yeah.
86% fresh from critics on Rotten Tomatoes and 76% fresh from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. So those are good stats, I think. They didn't win any Teen Choice Awards or MTV Movie Awards or anything like that. So, prestige overall lacking. But
Wow.
they did, they won other awards. That's just like, I look for, did they win an Oscar? Did they win a Teen Choice Award? Did they win a People's Choice Award? Did they win an MTV Movie Award? And then anything other than that, it's like, not my business. Did you win an award at the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards? It's not a Teen Choice Award. I'm so sorry. I'm not invested.
I would like to get into that though. I would like to know things about whatever that is and go attend.
I can pull up the awards and give you an
No,
overview if you'd like.
It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I just mean I want to, as a human being outside of the podcast, watch
sure,
the
sure.
Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. That sounds great.
I don't know if they televise them or anything like that. There must
gonna
be some
go
sort of
there.
ceremony,
It's okay.
right?
Don't worry.
We'll learn one day, perhaps.
So who wants to go first?
I feel like maybe I should go first because I didn't like it as much as you guys, so maybe you want to end on a high note. I just was like, I liked that it was all women. I agree that cabin scene did a lot of heavy lifting to set up dynamics and characterization. Other than that, I felt like we didn't necessarily get a lot of personality, and that is not a bad thing per se, because it would have felt I think they made the movie that they wanted to make, and they were really successful in making the movie that they wanted to make. It wasn't exactly the movie that I wanted to see. Again, I would have appreciated having a better sense of what was going on instead of just like throwing up my hands in every scene and being like, okay, I don't even know who this is right now, but they'll show me who it is afterwards. Like, I like that they were committed to their craft and to the realism, and they were like, we're only using the lighting on set that the characters have in the scene. But in terms of me being able to see a movie and understand what the movie is telling me, I would have liked a little more. I would have liked to have been able to dial in a little better. It made me feel removed from the film and from the movie watching experience. And I don't know. I don't always love a nobody wins movie also. I
Chelsea
like
wants that happy ending.
I kind of do. I like that ending, the UK ending here, because like I said, I wanted the hallucination payoff. But when I think that nobody is going to make it, I kind of like emotionally disengage a little bit. And I want to be emotionally engaged or emotionally attached enough to the characters that I'm like rooting for them. So for me, that was a little bit of a barrier. I just wasn't like, maybe on a rewatch, maybe like in a crowd, in a theater experience, I would be having a different moment. You know what I mean? But for me, I just wasn't connected to the film really, which I was disappointed about because I wanted to be connected to a film that had so much in common with all of the 47 meters downs and was all just ladies. You know what I mean? Like it felt like I should have been connected. But for me, I would probably give it like a 3.5 knives out of fives for like appreciation of what they did, but it wasn't quite for me.
Chelsea said there was no shark in that cave, and therefore it doesn't.
I needed a shark. I needed long, drawn out, emotional conversations between the women.
I still love this movie. I had like a bunch of times like this movie made me feel things like, and quite frankly, like the jump scares for the crawlers like were scary, but like being in the cave and
I went
stuck, like that is what made my heart rate like elevated, like almost to
higher than Top Gun.
No, almost though. Almost.
Nothing's higher than Top Gun Maverick.
Maverick could beat it.
But like I was sitting there and at one point I had to like stop and like walk around my house. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh, I gotta let the dogs out. Oh, I gotta do something. Like
I did go like this at one point. I didn't have to hide. I went like this and got up on my hands and knees so I could watch more intensely.
Like a upright fetal position to describe it for the listeners.
like a dog barking at the screen. Like
and so like because of that, like part of me thinks that this movie didn't even need the creepy crawlers. Like it could have been we're stuck. Oh no, it's getting.
I would have been more interested in that movie, I think.
I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5 because like I still really like this movie. It's so well done. It's just so well done. And it holds up.
It so holds up. Yeah, I hadn't seen it before, but like this was as scary as anything I've seen that's modern. I don't know. I really fucked with this movie a lot. It's not my typical type of movie because I like to have fun and this is not fun. I mean, it's exhilarating in a way, but holy shit. But yeah, I don't know. I like the subtle ways they handled the grief stuff. I like that it's open to interpretation and there's so many different ways you can look at it. I liked that the women were powerful and they knew what they were doing and they could triage that bitch's fucking broke ass leg immediately. Like that was all cool and empowering, and I like adventure stuff, so I thought it was cool. But also I love to hate, so it was fun to hate Juno. That was really fun for me. So I'm gonna give this one 4.6 out of 5 because I really had a great time. I'm so glad we did this. I don't know if I would have forced myself to watch it because it was one of those ones where I'm like I'm scared, but it was great.
It's scary.
So next week we have a movie that is very exciting. It's a recent release. It's actually now, thankfully, it'll be on video on demand for everybody to watch it. If you missed it in the theaters, if it's not still in the theaters in your area, but it was in theaters, Monica and I got a chance to see it and it was really cool. So we knew as soon as we saw it, we had to do it on the pod. It is A24's newest horror release, Talk to Me. And we will also be joined by a very special friend.
Another spooky girly that we love so much. We've had people from our spooky crew on before, but this is someone that we've met through the internet, through the podcast. It's very exciting for me. I love new friends.
Monica does love
but we're
meeting people
I
through the
love
internet.
I love meeting people through the internet. It's very exciting. I love making friends through the pod. It makes me very happy. Anyway, this is the wonderful, lovely Claire Wright will be joining us. She puts together Sunday Scaries film. So Sunday Scaries is a fun little film club, horror film club, where she programs every Sunday a spooky movie for you to watch, and each month is themed. So the theme for September is LA horror movies, and there's some bangerangs on there, so check that out. But you can follow her at Sunday Scaries Film. But yeah, she loved this movie, and she loves A24, and she loves horror in general. So I'm excited to have her on. She does love us, and that's the most important part of all. We don't allow our haters to come on the episodes with us.
Unless we're feeling a fight.
Oh, yeah. We could do that. That could be interesting. Just have a battle royale on air. Let's do it. But not next week. Next week will be full of love and joy and talk to me. So I'm excited.
And it's also our season finale.
Season finale.
Season
The end
finale.
of season 3. But we're not
And
even
Nothing to
taking
you, but more to us.
Yeah, there's no break.
Yeah, we're not taking any time off. Truly immediately, we will be back the next week with the start of season 4, and it'll be October. So shit gets real spooky in October. Whoa, crazy.
We're transferring from Chelsea birthday month to Sydney birthday month.
It's always
Wow.
a birthday month around these parts.
Every month, someone is
Every
born.
month. I'll take all the other months. Don't worry, guys. If somebody needs to be responsible for them, I will take responsibility.
Wow. Okay. What about me? My birthday.
You can have yours.
Can't I
Yeah.
have something?
That's actually my
Like
half
before
birthday
March?
month, Monica. So I need you to give that
Wow.
one to me.
Well, you can't have it. You know how I am about my birthday.
Monica gets Q1, Chelsea gets Q3, I get
Okay.
Q4, and we all get 1 month in Q2.
Amazing.
There we go.
That sounds very diplomatic. I'm interested. But yeah, we're doing a new release for the first time in a long time, so I'm excited. And yeah, okay, what will our poll question be for this movie? Would you go spelunking? Yes, I'm unhinged.
Here's the thing.
No, I'm sane. Maybe I'm on the brink of a mental breakdown.
Would you go spelunking in Appalachia?
Yeah.
No.
Like, would you go
The answer's
spelunking?
no.
Yes, as long as it's not Appalachia. I'll accept
Not
that.
Appalachia.
This is gonna be the poll
Desert
question. We're
cave
gonna
could be interesting. You know what I mean? Like a little Arizona spelunking.
Yeah, if it's not a desert, if it's someplace that's a little drier, maybe the creatures
Then I trust
that live
there's no
within
gooey
won't
guys.
be. Yeah, they won't be so gooey and so porous and
Mhm.
very unsettling looking. They'll just be like lizard people, maybe. And I love lizards. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
That's the poll question. We'll
Where
come up
would
with
you go
funny selections
spelunking?
for you. If you choose Appalachia,
If someone
Appalachia.
had a gun to your head and said you have to go spelunking, which location would you choose?
this could be very exciting.
Nowhere.
That's not one of the options.
I would just
Don't
die.
put that in the poll.
Kill
Yeah,
me. I would say
I
shoot
would
me
rather
with the
die than
gun.
go spelunking.
I would say I've watched Suits, and I know if someone holds a gun to your head, there's 27 other things you get. That's the whole thing. Don't worry. I'm just on. I finished Suits actually, so if you guys have been following
Suits
along
talk.
with that saga.
Oh my god. Okay, well, why not soothe our mortal souls and say, you're just as adept at being adventurous women as those women in The Descent, and say something.
We're adventure
You're
girls.
adventure girls, and it's clear to me that is true by listening to your podcast. 5 stars. That's a really good review, and it's true. I am okay at adventuring. I go camping.
I climbed
So-
that rock in Chatsworth.
You climb that rock.
Rocky Point or
Sydney,
Stony Point or
you
whatever
can
it's
told
called.
multitudes. Just because you don't want to do it doesn't mean you couldn't. And that's clear.
She
Let's
could
just
put
make
her
that very
adventure
clear.
I'm
strap on
outsidey.
her Crocs and go bouldering in Joshua Tree.
Wow.
She's
It's
capable
very
of that.
fun.
I am outside.
Yeah.
I will go hang outside.
It happens.
Don't
I will
camp
put
in
my Crocs in
Joshua
sports
Tree, but
mode.
go in for a little day visit to the
I'll go-
park.
I'll glam.
Glam.
Ooh, let's glam.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll glam.
Anyway, why not?
I own a
Oh my
camper.
There we go.
Anyway, follow us on social media too while you're at it. We're at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. At spooky. Wow, I said it wrong. At Spooky
Spooky
Tuesday
Tuesday.
Pod at Tumblr and Facebook. And we're at Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. And suddenly people are commenting on our reviews.
What's
I
that
didn't know
about?
Which we love.
that. So
That
It was all up in the group chat
my
today. We
God,
were like, oh
the
my God.
theorizing
we
that
love
went
all
down.
these people
get
Did
on
we
there and
just
say
get a
things
feature?
like,
Were you guys waiting for a particular movie to come up to
Yeah.
finally find your voice? Like, what was going on with you?
I don't know, but we appreciate it. Say more words. Only nice, though. Thank you.
Only nice words, please.
Only
Thanks.
nice, though. So anyway, we say thank you for listening and see you next Tuesday.
Bye, spookies.
Hey, listen to me. You love this one. You love this one. How'd you give a lemon an orgasm? Come on, tell me what you say it. How'd you give a lemon an orgasm? What did you do? You took a lip citrus. Okay, that's better.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.